Welcome, and today I wanted to share the Windsor Ruins, located in Mississippi. The Windsor Ruins are in Claiborne County, in the U.S. state of Mississippi, about 10 miles southwest of Port Gibson. The ruins consist of 23 standing Corinthian columns that were used in the construction of the largest mansion ever built in the state. The mansion stood from 1861 to 1890, when it was destroyed by fire. The 2.1-acre site was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1971, and was designated a Mississippi landmark merely in 1985. The Windsor Mansion is located on a plantation that covered 2,600 acres. The mansion was constructed between 1859 and 1861 for Smith Coffee Daniel II, who was born in Mississippi and acquired great wealth as a cotton planter by age 30. In 1849, he and his cousin Catherine got married, had 6 children, and 3 surviving into adulthood. The footprint for the mansion was set by 29 columns which supported a projected roofline that protected 9-foot wide verandas on the 2nd and 3rd floors. The 29 columns were constructed of bricks that were covered with stucco. The bricks were made in an on-site kiln. Column capitals, ballast, and 4 cast iron stairways were shipped from St. Louis down the Mississippi River, west of the Windsor Mansion. At the time, it was said it cost about $175,000. Today, it would cost close to $5 million. The ground floor basement contained a schoolroom, doctor's office, dairy, commissary, and storage rooms. On April 12, 1861, Smith Daniel died at age 34, just weeks after the construction of the mansion was completed. The Civil War used it as a hospital and observation platform during times of war. The Windsor Mansion survived the war. There seemed to be very little pictures, for in 1890 a fire started on the 3rd floor when a guest dropped ashes from a cigarette or cigar into construction debris left by carpenters who were making repairs. Windsor Mansion was destroyed, leaving only the columns, ballast, cast iron stairways, and pieces of bone china. And here we can have a look at the actual location down here along the Mississippi River. And here we have a little look at it. We can see the brick poking through the eroded stucco. And really remarkable, looking as glorious as anything that we would see. The same old world look of these columns, and truly looking like ruins from an older people. Not seeming like it fits this story of this 30-year-old man and his desire to build the largest mansion in Mississippi. And really this brings me to the idea of the tremendous amount of resources required to build things like this. And the reason that we don't build things like this today is for that very same reason. The amount of resources and skill and expense, which is really what it equates to in our reality, does not justify the construction of such beauty. And now some people will say that economy is the foundation of everything, and that even an ancient people would have been concerned with economies. And I would say not, that these ancient people were more concerned with beauty and perfection and longevity in anything that they would create. And the resources and money that we have at the time do not seem to lend themselves to these glorious creations, things that we do not replicate today. And so you see, even with this very simple story in Mississippi, we're told that there was a great inheritance, and this man amassed even more wealth in the cotton plantation in which this site was the center of. And then he mysteriously dies before its completion, or shortly after. And then the place burns down, just like everything in the old world. And not quite totally burning down, because they were made of such excellent materials. And so the second excuse they'll give us is slavery. Well, slavery. We get that all the time. Well, slaves built it. They didn't have the money to justify the building, so they tell us it was slaves. And we get this story going way back to Egypt, and even in present, recent history. And now I'm not discounting the existence of slavery, only mentioning that it's being used as an excuse in our narrative to create feats of engineering that would not be created even 100 years later. And here we have another little look. And this really excited me because, it's one thing to find such ruins in major cities, and now people can justify the money. The money is flowing in major cities, and in the case of San Francisco and Chicago and the World's Fairs found all throughout, well, they tell us that this was a business endeavor and there was private money and it was for profit. So there it is. There's your excuse for the money and the resources and expenditure that it would take. But in this case, in the middle of a cotton plantation, in an area that is not so popular and historically was also not, according to our narrative, a major bustling area. Yes, it is located on this major river and would serve as a excellent port. However, the story that we're given doesn't make any sense, and I think they would have preferred this to remain buried forever. And while we're here, let us have a little peek at this Pantheon, and again, absolutely amazing, and built of the same fine quality and craftsmanship that we see in pantheons found all throughout our realm. This is nothing short of the real deal, and I was absolutely blown away when I found out that this was sitting in Tennessee, in the middle of a park. And again, it was easy in Washington, D.C., perhaps, to justify the expenditure, once again, for buildings of this nature. But here in Tennessee, and here in Mississippi, now the gaps are beginning to fill themselves in. Now we are beginning to see the nature of the history of North America. And that's it for today. I also wanted to mention I have made a course on how I make YouTube videos, and that's available down in the description below. And I thank you so much for watching. Do have a blessed day. Please like, comment, and subscribe.